Like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, first, why is he so offended? That's like, I watched the whole video and I'm waiting for something to happen, and it's like, oh, that's it? Laughing at the cracker, though, it's because, like, me and my friends, we burned a fucking church down, so I'm sure it's a fancy cracker. I mean, it's supposed to be, yeah, it's you know, if it's Jesus, it's gotta be at least a cheese it. Ain't gonna be no saltine. It's like, you know, being a person that's burned down a church, seeing them make such a big deal, and him being so defensive of, like, the church, when he's supposed to be an atheist, and it's like, well, if you're against it, then you're against it. Why are you acting all, in defense of the church? I mean, it's pretty silly anyway, you know. The processions in Europe, like, those are cool. Like, that's basically what they were laughing at. It's like a procession, but the ones in Europe are really cool. Like, they have these ones where they march down the streets in these KKK-looking outfits, except they're all colorful, and it's like, it's creepy as hell looking, but there it's just, you know, it's like a pope or a nun outfit, but it's creepy as hell, you know. Especially the ones in France, because they're like all black. Those are the ones that are really cool. I wouldn't laugh at a nun, but I still think she's crazy. Nuns ain't nothing to mess with. They got those rulers and those beads that who knows what they're using those beads for. It did remind me of one time when I was a kid. I went to see Tool, and the Flaming Lips and Failure was the bands that went to this show, and we were doing Speed, and so we stayed up all night, and the next day was Easter, and so we went to this church because we were going to get some drugs off this guy, so we were meeting this guy at church to get drugs, and we all, like, stood in the back, in the very back, and my friend had a white zombie t-shirt on that had, like, pentagrams and boobs and you know, 666 written all over it, and it was Easter, and so he was given this huge, like, he had a little cave, a little set design on the stage. It was a pretty big church. And he had this little set designed, and it was like a little cave and a rock in front of the cave. And he's giving this big speech, and he's like getting all into it and screaming and stuff. And then when he got to the part where Jesus rose from the dead, he's like, "He rose from the dead." And he pushed the rock that was like a, you know, styrofoam. And it was like so ridiculous that, like, we couldn't help but laugh and snicker a little, just because, like, he's pushing this giant styrofoam rock, you know. So, and, like, the whole church turned around and, like, sneered at us and hissed and, you know, like, the entire church heard us snickering, and I guess it was, like, the pinnacle part of the story, you know. It's like the part everybody was waiting for, but it was just so ridiculous we couldn't help but laugh. But, you know, religion, it's not religion itself, it's what you do with it. It's what you do in the name of it, you know. It's like, I believe in democracy. If I go kill a bunch of people and say I did it for democracy, then, you know, obviously democracy doesn't look like a good idea. So same goes for religion, you know. It's like you got a bunch of nuts, a bunch of racists and assholes, but, you know, they use religion as the excuse to be divisionary, but if it wasn't religion, then it would be, you know, nationalism or, you know, culturalism or language or, you know, anything else they can think of. Also, when I was baptized, the fucking preacher said a different kid's name. So, like, and I tried to correct him, and he just moved on to the next kid. He said Josh Colvin. So, officially, I've never been indoctrinated, so I'm safe. My soul is safe. It's not been claimed by anyone. It's still just mine. Although I did talk to Satan in my head when I burned down that church. Asked him for a few favors. But he never paid up. So I think I'm still in the clear.